Welcome in once again. It is our monthly chat with Scott Lean, the CEO of GrandPad, as we talk cybersecurity and staying safe online and keeping your family and loved ones safe as well. Scott, always great to chat with you. How are you, my friend?
Great to be with you, Brian. All good.
All right, good. Well, it is that season where people will tend to shop online and they'll connect with the family online and all that kind of fun stuff. And we got to keep the bad guys out this time of year. We're going to get into that a little bit deeper. But one of the things I saw an article recently talking about, even after all this time, people are still not real diligent when it comes to their passwords. And I think if I remember the article right, like the number one password is still password. I mean, are people really still doing that, my friend?
They are. They are, sadly. And as you said, this time of year, the bad guys are working overtime for a variety of reasons. Holiday season, lots of people are shopping. There's a lot going on. People are getting invitations to parties and events. It is the sign-up season for lots of healthcare benefits and Medicare Advantage. So there's just, and pretty soon it'll be the end of the year for taxes and whatnot. So there's a lot going on. And the bad guys take advantage of all those events and things going on the calendar. And yes, just like a lock on your door, the password is the first line of defense. And, and we all know passwords are a pain. They're hard to remember. We all have 10,000 things we got to log into. But, if you're going to, we all live in this digital age, and it's just part of our times now. You got to start with a good password. And a good password is a strong, unique password, unique to that website. Do not use the default. Do not use the same password everywhere. And the best thing to do is use one of these password managers. And there's a number of good ones out there. There's a good password manager built into the Google Chrome browser. And think of that as like a vault. You just need one password, and then that opens up the vault and gets you at all the other passwords. And the best thing is with those password managers, it has generate a unique long password, and it's usually something like XYZ PDQ 1492, and it's about 25 characters long, and it's extremely unique. There's no expectation you're going to ever remember that. It's stored in the password manager. So use that. Make sure they're unique. Don't use the same one everywhere. The second,
And I'm sorry, just real quick on that subject. Don't use that kind of the password store, if you whatever you want to call it, on Google. But one thing you don't want to do, at least what I've heard, and you're the tech expert, as you and I were joking about right before we came online, is you don't want to have a folder that has your passwords on it, because if the bad guys get access, they can get to that folder pretty easily.
That's right. That's right. Don't like put them in a file. Don't write them down somewhere. There's within Google Chrome, it's called the password manager, and it's like a lock vault. They're all encrypted. There's a few other third-party tools. Be careful. Use a respectable one. As always, you can always call us at GrandPad. We're happy to help advise and answer questions on this, whether you're a customer or not a customer. We just want to keep people safe. But with that, it will generate a password, and then the second step. So think about password. That's just like kind of the default lock on your front door. But the real is the deadbolt and the chain. You know how when you stay in a hotel, they have the deadbolt and chain. That's multi-factor authentication, or two-factor, it's called, or MFA. And that's where websites say, do you want to set up multi-factor authentication, MFA? Always say yes. And I totally get it's a little bit of a pain to set up. And what it does is it sends a text message to your phone, is the most common way. So now that multi-factor, you need to have the password, and you got to be hanging on to that phone and get that text message and enter that code. I really recommend Facebook. A lot of people get hacked on Facebook. We've all gotten messages from friends on Facebook said, my Facebook account got hacked. That's not me posting all this weird stuff. Please disregard. I'm trying to reset up my account. And what happens is the bad guys post something really interesting and fun and intriguing, and it says, click here in the comments. You click to get kind of the rest of the story. You click on the comments, and the first thing it asks you for is like, and it looks just like the Facebook login. Oh, you got to re-log in again, user ID and password. And people dutifully type that in because they want to get to the content. That's fake. That's the bad guys put up a fake login window. They just got your password. Now, if you have multi-factor authentication set up, doesn't do them any good. They can enter the password in all day, but if they don't have your phone in their possession and don't get that second factor, that code, they can't get in. So whenever I see people in my family or whoever that says my Facebook got hacked, I call and say, hey, Aunt Susie, let me help you set up multi-factor on your Facebook account. It takes a minute to do, and it's a pain. I acknowledge that, but it's going to protect you. It's just like none of us leave our front door open with $100 cash on the kitchen table. You're just inviting the bad guys in. If you don't have MFA set up, that's what you're doing.
Scott, on that same subject, I see a lot of times on Facebook, you'll get a message in Facebook Messenger, or you'll get a direct message on your page that says something like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I knew that you knew this person," and that's all it is. And it's designed again, right, just to get you to click.
That's right. They're just phishing. And
yeah,
when, be suspicious, and it's it stinks that we got to be so suspicious, but you need to, and the best thing to do is don't click on it.
Mm-hmm.
If it's, someone that you did, you look at and see the name and number and you legit know them, send them an email directly, call them directly, but there's constantly, and the more people, you and I, visible, people can Google us, we have a podcast. The more visible you are, the more your name is out there, the more the bad guys will use that to come at you and try to figure things out. So the advice is go to a known phone number or email. Like, yeah, I know my friend Jim from high school. I've got his phone number. I'm just going to call him and go, Jim, did you send me a direct message on Facebook? And Jim's like, no, I didn't send you. Like, okay, you just block it and delete it.
Sounds great. Now let's okay. So just to recap there, let the generator create that 17 character thing that you're never going to remember, and that's fine. But let Google save it, and then two-step authorization or two-step factors. So really good advice. Now shopping season. And a lot of people, we got Monday, December 2nd is going to be Cyber Monday. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to hit the websites. How do we stay safe here?
Yeah. First, shop at trusted websites, trusted brands. We've all had something like you're looking for something really unique and it's only available on this strange company, this strange website you've never heard of. Avoid that. Stick with known brands, known companies who you can trust. Occasionally, like you've had to buy like it's some antique or something and you're trying to find it, like eBay is a good source.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, eBay is a good source. You can get a lot of things there. Amazon. And hey, call me old fashioned, but going to a good brick and mortar store and buying directly from someone where you can touch and feel it, that's great. Do that whenever you can. But if you're online, trusted websites. Second, look for secure connections. So, you've got www, Amazon.com. In that address is the HTTPS // That means it's a secure encrypted site. Look for that. And, use payment methods like PayPal is a great one where there's additional protection. Only use credit cards. Don't use debit cards. There's a lot of risk with debit cards. A credit card, there is built-in fraud protection. We had it. If you get scammed, you can call your credit card company, call them right away. They'll block the payment. There's some clawback capability that you likely won't lose all your money, but using trusted payment sources like PayPal is a good one. Some credit card companies are coming up with these kind of throwaway or virtual credit card numbers. A number of the credit card companies offer. So, all right, all my purchases on eBay, I use this one virtual credit card. And it can only be used on eBay. And you can set a threshold that only, $100 a month can be used. So do those things to protect yourself. Second is avoid public Wi-Fi. It's best to be at home on your Wi-Fi. It's secure. public Wi-Fi at coffee shops and so on, the bad guys can put sniffers in there, and it's a device they can basically see everything going across the wire in a public Wi-Fi. So be cautious of that. Of course, look out for deals that seem too good to be true. Like, you click on something on Facebook, it's like, oh, you're getting this diamond ring that's usually $10,000 and it's only $100 today. Like, that could be a scam. And last is you got to monitor your accounts. Set up online banking. Most online banking and credit cards now have the nice alerts and notification. So you can, every time somebody uses your credit card ping, you can get a ping on your phone and keep a close eye on that. The other thing I'd recommend is these credit monitoring services. I use Credit Karma from Intuit. It's free. It's great. That way, if someone goes to open a credit card or try to take out a loan in your name, you get a ping and you can see. So you've got to keep an eye on it.
Yeah, I use Credit Karma as well, and it is a very valuable tool. One of the things I'm seeing banks start to do a little bit more too is even with the use of a debit card, we're starting to see some notifications that did you make this purchase? Did you really make this? So I like seeing that protection too, and when it comes to your credit cards or your debit cards in those cases. All right, let's talk about things that may show up at this time of year. You're talking about deals too good to be true, but you also may get a, hey, we confirm your order type of thing. Your inbox gets hit as well.
Yeah, I get so many of these, both emails and text messages, because it's pretty easy guess that a lot of people this time of year are using Amazon. So you get an email, and it will look like it's from Amazon. It'll say something like, Amazon-customer-support at 123xyz.com. But if you don't really look at it close, you don't see that. And it might say, hey, we need to confirm your order, click here. And then you click there, and now on your computer, you've got a virus, they're infecting your computer with a virus. Or they go, well, we just got to we got to confirm your credit card, and then they have you put that in, and now they're in your credit card. So a key point, and I'm the first to acknowledge, it's hard to keep track of all this stuff and sort it out and dig through all this. When in doubt, slow down and just go, well, no, I got all my packages. They don't need anything. Or second is, and I've recently had one of these, I have the Amazon app on my phone. I went into the app and I checked my orders, and they were all fine. They didn't need anything. Or you go log into Amazon on your computer and check. It's like, no, it's fine. And occasionally, like I did have one a while back where there was I'd actually used a gift card, and the gift card had expired. There was a question, and they had it, and I saw it in the app. So the key takeaway is go to the source. Don't click on a link. Go to the source. Go to Amazon.com in this example, because these types of email and text message scams and even phone call scams, they're going to continue, sadly. Don't engage with them. Some people like to play ping pong, think like, well, I'm going to somehow get back at the bad guy. I'm going to reply back to him, and I'm going to play ping pong. Replying to these messages is absolutely the worst thing you can do, because now they know, hey, I got a live one. There is a human being on the other end of this, because their approach is they're just spraying out millions of messages and hoping someone replies. The other thing is, weird or urgent subject lines when it's like act right now or your account's suspended. That's a red flag. Where it lacks personalization, when it says dear customer, Amazon knows who I am. Spelling or grammar mistakes. Now we're seeing less of these now. The bad guys are getting smarter. They're using really good tools. When there's unsuspecting links or attachments, or they're asking for sensitive information, any of these things are red flags. So the other one in this category is shipping updates. So UPS, FedEx, United or U.S. Postal, they're saying, hey, FedEx, we tried to deliver this. Then click here, you got to claim that, and you're like, well, I didn't order anything from FedEx. Don't reply, or go directly to FedEx website and confirm there.
I'm glad you brought that up, because that was one of the things I've been seeing a lot of lately. Both me and some family members have been hit with that one. What are they fishing for on that one, Scott? Are they just trying to get a conversation started? Are they trying to get an address? What's the purpose for the shipping one?
Yeah, They're just, first thing is they're just trying to see, is there a human being on the other end of this? Because they literally are just generating random emails and doing things like scott@gmail.com, right? And sending it and seeing, does someone reply? Then, and they usually start out very innocuous and very low, oh, and then they engage you. And then I think we've talked about this previously. It's just bit by bit, and it's creating a conversation. Oh, I just need to confirm your street address, Brian. And then they get that. And this is all automated. They're using machines. So now they have your name, they have your email, they have your street address. They're putting all that together. They're building a dossier about you. They say, oh, Brian works here. We have this on LinkedIn about Brian. And they're building all these, and then they'll use that in their exchange. And then pretty soon it'll be like, well, we just need $3.53 to pay the shipping so that we can send you this package, and it's blah blah blah. It's from company XYZ, and it all sounds right to you. And you go, okay, what it's only $3.53. You put in your credit card. Now they've got that step, and now it keeps escalating. And sadly, this is where the bad guys really take advantage of seniors. So they'll really prey on their generosity and kindness. And then next thing you know, you're getting an email from charitable organization XYZ. And now, well, hey, it is the holiday season and there's this, cause, and we know you're a generous person. Now the ask is $25. And then they get you to do that. And then the next ask is $250. And it just keeps escalating up, because once they kind of know, like, hey, we got somebody who's responding, they stay on you.
Another thing that we've talked about, I want to kind of lean into for the holidays as well. You and I have had this conversation before, but when you're traveling when you're with family, when you're going to be moving around at the holiday season, as tempting as it is and as fun as it is to share, like, look, my granddaughter's getting ready to turn 1. I'm going to go visit. I want to post pictures, right? I want people to see how beautiful she is. Probably not a good idea, though, because I'm just feeding them with more information.
Yeah, that's right. And it stinks that we've got to be this cautious and suspicious. And the other example, like when someone takes their whole family, they live here in Minnesota, they take their whole family and they go to Hawaii for a week, and they land in Hawaii and they post a picture of them and the family, say, oh, it's so awesome to be here with my whole family, and they list all their names here in Hawaii for the next 10 days. The bad guys are watching that, and they will figure out, where does Brian live, and they're going to go break into your house while you're gone. This happens.
I think
it's not fantasy. Right?
No, I remember us talking about that, and I think it's really important, Scott, to mention that, because I think so often when we have these conversations and other people have these conversations, they think everything's happening in a call center somewhere overseas, but it's not, is it?
It's not, and the bad guys have a very sophisticated system, and you and I all use the public internet. The bad guys use the dark web, and it's their shady place where they're all getting together and sharing information. So the bad guy that can see that Brian has gone to Hawaii with his family, he'll sell that information to someone else and say, Brian, and here's his address, here where he lived, you have 10 days. Someone might just pay him $20 for that information. They might then sell it to another person, sells it to another person, each of them making money, and then someone a local criminal will go, wow, I can go there. I have a coworker that this happened to. The bad guys knew they were gone for a week. They came. It's very easy, when you're gone, lock all the doors of the house, lock the door that goes into the garage, because they know it's very easy to get garage door openers to open. They have a little electronic machine. It cycles through. Ooh, garage door open. They pulled their van into the garage door. The door going into the house was not locked. They didn't have a security system. They spent a day going through everything in their house. They stole everything of value, loaded in their van, and left. They came home from their vacation. Everything was wiped out. Jewelry, photos that they didn't have backups of, everything. So, just think, like, when I put information out on social media, assume the bad guys are going to see it and that they're going to use it in the worst way. So what do you do about it? Great. You want to share photos with a family member? Share it in a private way. Send them an email with a link to the photos. Send them a text message just to those people. GrandPad is a family, a private social network. Think of it as a walled garden where you invite in your family, friends, and caregivers, just the people you want. So when you post a picture of the new grandbaby, only the people in the family will see it, and they can all comment and be part of that, and you can actually increase the dialogue, but know that it's done in a safe way.
And I want to take just a couple of minutes that we have left here to talk about that, because as I've told you many, many times, I really admire what your company does and the way you conduct yourselves and the products that you have. We're coming into the holiday season. It's here. We're not really coming into it. It's here. We've talked several times throughout this podcast about the ill effects of loneliness. We want to be able to connect with elderly family members, have that connection that maybe we can't have year round, but certainly even more so during the holidays. And your product is great at helping make that happen.
Absolutely. That's why we started the company, was to connect families in a safe and simple and fun, engaging way. So first, you're not struggling with the technology. I've seen, we all got pretty good at Zoom calls and whatnot during COVID, but it's still a struggle. I was on a Microsoft Teams call with some people today, and it was a struggle. So right there, you're trying to, maybe over Thanksgiving, you got a bunch of the family together, but you got maybe grandma and grandpa couldn't travel, and you're trying to do a video call with them, and everybody struggles and just gets frustrated. GrandPad makes connecting the family simple. The average age of our user is 85, and they love it. Second is we do it in a way that's safe, so the bad guys can't get in. And here's the thing about the bad guys, the scammers. They're naturally lazy, and so they go knock on the door and try to figure out how to steal from someone. They can't get in that one. They just quickly move on because there's other people, and then they go, oh, knock. Wow, this person doesn't have a strong password. They use the word password as their password.
Yeah.
They're not using multi-factor, and they go after that person, right? So, by raising your defenses, using GrandPad, you can actually increase the communication in the family. And here's the nice side benefit. Engaging with the super seniors in our lives, those over the age of 75. You and I, Brian, we're busy. We're talking to a lot of people. But sadly, there's so many seniors who are desperately lonely and isolated, and they just want to chat with someone. And so that video call with grandma, grandpa, aunt, or uncle, it means the world to them.
Sure does. Grandpad.net. Check out all of Scott's fantastic products. Scott, how do we wrap this up? Let's, no pun intended, let's put a bow on this thing.
There you go. Well,
okay, maybe the pun was intended, I guess.
There you go. Well, pick up the phone, call the super senior in your life today. It will mean the world to them. We're happy to help in any way we can. Grandpad.net, as you said. You can always call us at 800-704-9412.
Customer or not, by the way.
Yep, customer or not. We're happy to help any way we can. We love working with this awesome group of people we call super seniors. I've been so lucky to meet some of these wonderful people. We're working with a bunch of World War II veterans right now. Veterans, we just had Veterans Day. November is Veterans Month. And I was talking to a guy today, 103, World War II Normandy D-Day survivor. And so the ability to do a video call with him on GrandPad was so fun for me, and it was absolutely a game changer for him.
And if you don't mind a little cross promotion here, as we call it in the radio business, you and I, or actually you, host another podcast on on the WinonaRadio.com and all of the places where you can get your podcast, where we actually talk to these people and we hear their stories, and they're just, it's fascinating. It's and we call it Living Legends. And Scott, that has been so much fun, and I get to just sit back and engineer those and let you talk to them. But the people we've talked to have just absolutely been fascinating, and it's so wonderful to hear their stories.
Yeah, it's fun, it's inspiring, and we can learn so much from these people, right? They have true wisdom, because when you're 103, you've been through a lot of ups and downs in your life. In this case, Normandy D-Day, and they just really have the long view, big perspective on life.
And if you really want to listen to one that's just fascinatingly cool, we talked to a husband and a wife who are in their 80s. Is that right? Late 70s, early 80s, who just recently got married. And the story is fantastic. And you really should, you get to hear both husband and wife. They're two different episodes of Living Legends. And it is fascinating. And it is so fun that they got to know each other. Scott, thank you again. Always great to catch up with you. Look forward to our conversation again next month. And just remind everybody, be safe, slow down, right? That's the one that it seems like we always end with, slow down.